Okay, what happened last time? We are still in trial. We almost got innocent a couple times, but then Van Zieks had something else up his sleeve. And I am 80% sure there's another witness that we need to call in, but I guess we won't know until we get there. Okay. Yeah, we're pressing them, and they said something about a bouquet, and then the husband's like, "Don't mention it," and we're like, "Sussy, let's ask her about it."
Hold it!
You mean you dropped the bouquet at the scene of the crime? Yes, that's right. Oh, I was so upset. When we ran over and saw it was a woman with a knife in her back. I was so shocked I dropped the bouquet Rolly gave me. It was in a dark spot where the street lights weren't casting any light, so I didn't notice it at first. And then you went to the police box to report it to the policeman whose beat it was on. Yes, and I came back to the scene together with the other constable, you see. That's when I spotted my bouquet again. But the funny thing is, when I went to pick it up, it was nowhere near the victim's body at all.
In case you need reminding, Mrs. Beat, the victim is not deceased.
I was all flustered for a moment before I heard a voice calling me from the other side of the road.
Your husband, presumably.
That's right, silly me, I'd gone over to the wrong side of the street. Although I'm going to blame the bouquet this time, I can't think how it got there, I really can't.
So the bouquet somehow moved from one side of Briar Road to the opposite. Curious indeed.
Isn't it? But the worst of it is I forgot to pick the bouquet up again when we left the scene. That beautiful rose Rolly brought me, with that change from the gutter he spent so long collecting.
By bouquet, do you perhaps mean this sorry, solitary rose?
Oh, yes, that's it. That's a bouquet Rolly bought me for our anniversary, with old bits of change he found in the gutter.
Maybe just call it a rose. Tell us, Lord Van Zieks, where did you come by the flower? According to the report by the police officer in charge of the crime scene investigation, it was found on the edge of the pavement in front of the Garadeb household. In front of the Garadeb's house. Although it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. It was believed to be of no relevance to the case, since it was found on the opposite side of the thoroughfare.
Oh, thank you, sir, thank you. Can I have it back now, please?
Okay, so it sounds like she was stabbed next to the house and then was somehow moved over to the other side. How? I don't know. No, I think for good measure, this rose should be added to the court record as evidence.
Oh. But it's a symbol of our love.
I'm gonna look at it. Heck, your symbol of love. An English rose. It's such a beautiful flower. Ah, this is a rose, is it? I've never seen one before. Do you not take an interest in flowers, Mr. Naruhodo? I wouldn't say that exactly, but I do know 3 types at least. Gosh, 3? Yes, plum blossom, peach blossom, and cherry blossom. Perhaps you should consider branching out, learning some that aren't fruit tree based, for example. Okay, it's just the same thing. Wonder what else you can... It's very stylish paper the flower's wrapped in, isn't it? It's just an old newspaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh. I suppose it's because I'm not used to seeing English print. It looks so exotic to me. Ah, I see. Is something wrong?
Oh, no. I was just thinking that if you wrapped a stone-baked sweet potato in English newspaper, it might look like some sort of fancy cake. Ah, Susato-san, you do love your cakes. I love cakes too, Susato. We're the same. I think that's all I can find on it. Okay. I want it back after the trial. Do you hear me? I want it back. Good grief. Rest assured that I shall do my very best not to forget, Mrs. Veet. Didn't take my eye off the crime scene for one moment. Saw nothing strange to report. Liar.
Hold it!
Nothing to report. That's correct, Saw. I had my eyes wide open the entire time. Never looked away for a second. No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. I can swear to that on the yard's honor, Saw. Really? That seems a little strange. Beg your pardon, Saw. Strange, Saw. Seems altogether regular to me. Wait, I think I said this already. Oh, did I? Hold on. Maybe he just says that a lot, and that's why I'm confused. This burnt copy of the Lion's Pride was originally in the Garrideb household. So the question remains, how did it find its way into the hand of the victim? Can you shed any light on that, seeing as you were at the scene of the crime the entire time? Aha! Could it be a different coffee, sir? Okay, yeah. I've read all this. Okay, hold on. Let me see what he said. The book was in the lady's hand from the moment we arrived at the scene. What'd you miss? A bit. But I believe I'm starting to get a picture of what really happened here now. Fourth book had no business being at the scene of the crime. Made me sure that Mrs. Garrideb was hiding something from us. But it's becoming increasingly clear that someone else has been hiding something from us as well. Oh, we do? Okay, let me save first. I'm sure we do, I just... I'm not sure. I'm sure I have to use the rose, but I'm not sure where to use it. Yeah, we said that, and then they're like, and then Van Zeeks is like, you're stupid. This is why it wouldn't be him, and blah blah blah. So really, our little guess about it being the old man, was really for nothing. Because we're talking about something else now. We're talking about the two people who found the victim. There's something here. Ended up losing my way for a while. So when should I... when should I present the rose? Is that all we found out? God, so much happened. I think. I'm pretty sure last stream we got to guilty and then had to do the examination summation twice to be like, we gotta keep going, please. And I just got this thing. Anniversary bouquet. That's just really a flower.
Not sure when to present it. I think I'll present it here, right? Oops.
Objection!
You claim, Constable Beat, there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be. What do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Mrs. Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection!
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. Meager.
Objection!
But if that were the case... There's roadwork there he's gonna walk down. Yes, but then they're like, oh, we only had the road closed for like 2 yards, or was it? And it was like, he could jump over it or whatever. So he could have taken either way. So I'm like, okay, well, we can't argue this point anymore. I don't know how long things are. 2 yards? Is that long? Why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. Yeah, but like, London roads are wide as heck. So he could have, like, gotten around it. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Mrs. Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garadev's book. Mr. Garadev's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Mrs. Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garadev's house. There's no logical explanation for those things. Unless somebody deliberately moved them. Well, why would they move it? That's the thing, I'm confused. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Whittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Oh good. Mrs. Garadev's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Mrs. Garadev. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mr. Naruhodo. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it. For a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection!
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend. Who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? Yes, there's someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? The only person I can think of is fucking him.
but I'm gonna save just in case.
Take that!
Obviously, there's only one person it could have been. Constable Rolly Beat, it was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard?
What nonsense! Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London.
Mrs. Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it.
You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about that Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it.
Oh,
And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene.
well...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you cremate a policeman as well. But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime scene was tampered with. But there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something.
That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. But why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make sense.
You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering. And until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable B had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. Did he? Hold on, let me look at this shit. What's the reason? I still don't see it. That's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery? No. Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that your reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide. It's where the victim fell, right? Wait, hold on. No, this one. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. He moved the body to the other side just so he doesn't have to deal with it. He wanted the other policeman to fucking deal with it. Because when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations. He moved the body. Because in the map, hold on, let me show you. The map, half of Briar Road is Rolly's on the left, and another half is someone else's. You can't see my hand, but I'm cutting Briar Road in half. The X is someone else's beat, but across the street is Rolly's beat. That's such a police thing to do. I'm gonna say it just in case, but I know I'm right. Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What?
Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road, we saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know.
That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all.
What?
I'm beginning to wonder where this tumultuous trial will end, Counsel. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening?
Right here, bro. But I'll save just in case. Hehe.
Take that!
But that's on the opposite side of the road.
I don't understand. I just want to be sure.
On the evening in question, Mr. Gerda's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Mrs. Beat, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious!
Objection!
Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right, I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. True. When he saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't have been.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crime scene. He moved all the things shown in this print, the victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything in fact to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume. Exactly. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning, as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat.
Can't snooze your way out of this one.
Well, very sorry.
I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important? Oh, Rolly! It isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything come out, everything exposed. Only it seems it wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! Ordar! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rolly, why? Why would you do something like this?
She's still smiling. Pin rubbing in his mouth. He just likes to chew on it.
Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London town. I can't say, sir. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. For damaging the Yard's reputation, for everything. I have a possible explanation for why, on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You, a foreigner, presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. Yeah, man. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from, human emotions are the same. And I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? This baby.
Take that!
I realize that I'm a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan. Which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world, for example. Keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on his beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh yes, it was our very first wedding anniversary.
Constable Beat had worked so hard to be able to afford this simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal. When he and Mrs. Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that shadowy figure through the fog collapse on the pavement ahead of them, wait, who's talking? Okay, that's Van Zeeks. What must have gone through the man's mind? What's up? I was looking forward to celebrating. I love my wife. Ooh, I love my wife. I love my wife. This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says... Which one? Oh, no. I think Orange just sent it to me when it went viral. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat? Is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Oh, you did? Yes. I forgot to say his line. Everything you said, it's alright. It's alright. Why did I say it's alright? So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh,
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Ahaha. Good gracious. Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. What? Hello? Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why did this have to happen here? And why tonight, of all nights? Why? It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then when I opened my mouth to speak. It just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. So I have to go to the police box that covers it, turn right along Meerschaum Street, and then... Man, you brought your wife into this. Susato was like... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Constable. I just wanted just that one night to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, really? Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. I mean, they were on their way to dinner. I guess they were eating fine after that. After they found the fucking woman with the knife on her back, they're like, okay, let's go to dinner. Now that everyone else is here. You see, I thought... Well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. Damn. I beg your pardon. Oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement. I see your meaning now. But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat. Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly. And can you tell us, Constable, how many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? Oh, 4 it was. Yes, sir. Definitely 4. I don't feel veteran. I don't either. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. How you found it? What do you mean? When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So, when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding? Oh yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Interesting. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the 2 people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who'd done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of difference. Sir? You are about to put an innocent man to death. Alright, I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. My lord. Yes, Lord Van Zeeks. I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir.
Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him?
To the gallows. I'm kidding. For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired.
All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable. Sir, let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, sir. Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime.
Never again, sir. You mean to say...
Leave now. This trial is not yet over. Sir! Oh my god, yeah. He keeps his job. Well, look, hold on. They look so poor. Look at their clothes. They need a job. But, god, this is bad. What he did is bad too. Everything's bad. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party translating the entire scene of a crime like that? Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here. Principally, that the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could possibly have committed the crime.
Objection!
Well, knowing that it happened on the other side gives us ammo to what I thought happened, which is that Mrs. Garrida fucking threw shit out the window. One of them being a knife. She threw the book first. The lady looked down at the book, went to pick it up, and then Mrs. Garrida threw the knife and stabbed her in the back while she was picking up the book, and that's why she fell over. No, I disagree. I think that is what happened. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back. Forgive me for being presumptuous. She was throwing shit. Oh, that is, yeah, we found out last stream, that was it. She threw shit out the window. But I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already. Put her on the stand. Put her on the stand. Lord Van Zeeks, is this true? Very well. Name the person, if you will, and if further investigation is warranted. The prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You'll name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime. I'm gonna say just in case. Get her ass!
Take that!
The defense would once again like to request a cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again. My assistant made the same request earlier. In order to finally reveal the truth about this case, it's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Mrs. Joan Garadeb. Me? Oh dearie me.
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection!
But the situation is very different now. Mrs. Garadeb, answer me this. What do you want now, you little toad? At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garadeb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. To clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road. Well, what of it? You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open top-hinge casement window, the book plummeted directly down, finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident. Yes, and as I said, what of it? During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. Do you see where I'm going with this? So let me ask you one more time, Mrs. Garadeb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before? I don't recall it. Seriously? Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there and all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he? Conveniently, yes.
Objection!
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Ooh! Juror number 4. Oh. She shouldn't have called him, was it what he said? The man over there and all that regalia. She called him gay. Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out. But that's just a common garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know? What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying, please, Mrs. Garadeb? Boop. Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought of that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it. You were about to kill your husband, but whatever. Oh, the poor woman. So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now, chop chop. Do your worst. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror. Oh! The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zeeks. I'm going to have to testify. Juror number 4. As I'm sure you will appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware. Is he being nice and sexy? I think he's being nice and sexy. Oh dearie me. So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Mrs. Garadeb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord. It seems like Van Zeeks wants the truth too. So who's gonna replace her? Ooh, I don't know. I didn't think that far. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. This is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. He does look good with a sword. She brought her fucking teapot on the stand. Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joan Garrideb. And well, I'm a juror and such like.
Sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid or what anymore. It's just... The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam?
Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh dear me. Chin up, Joni. Nothing to worry about now. Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
Oh my god, look at them. I still hate her though. Wasn't only you in the room that day, old thing, was it? Rather think I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
I presume you are Mr. John Garrideb. Yes, sir. Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action, now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes, quite. Do you think he's gonna make it hard? I'm not sure. Maybe. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once. Well, if he tries to lie, we can see, like, their reactions. If either of them try to lie, we can see their reactions. The Battle of Garrideb. Yes, on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. I got the reason! Knocked the candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon headed out though and got the window open. Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him. I don't know if we have proof of the reason for their little tiff. We don't. Not with us anyways. Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I'd noticed if one or two went missing, I'm afraid. If that bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours, you'll have a job proving it, I think. It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield you're just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here? Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Van Zeeks may well be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I'm afraid so. Very well, counsel. Begin your cross-examination. Press you.
Hold it!
The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe.
Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked into the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Garrideb.
A rather passionate note, in fact. But Mrs. Garrideb found a note discovering her husband's little secret.
And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. Why do you look happy?
What a sordid state of affairs. Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. And besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway.
A likely story.
These waters run very deep. And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face? Knock the candlestick and set fire to the carpet, soon head out.
You did?
Hold it!
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine really. Just so happens there was some bath water around that evening, so I sloshed it about to put it out. The most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see. The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe. The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country.
Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off. Have you actually seen the say of the man? Why would he live there if he had money?
I believe he uses all of his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough. Shit, I feel like we're not gonna get anything.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire, as far as I was concerned at the time,
it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames.
When a woman wants to throw, she must throw.
That is most certainly not true of a Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo.
How did you know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was a knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge.
Fine.
A napkin.
Oop!
Excuse me.
Do you have something to add, sir? Mr. Garrideb. Hey, don't shoot! Sorry, I beg your pardon? Did your wife's remark just now bring something to mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and a fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every... Good grief, woman, we're not at home now. This is a court of law.
Oh dearie me, ever so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with a teapot in here?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously. Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir. Had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Not to clean out one of her soft projectiles, she did. Yes. Is he gonna drink the tea in the pipe? And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I'd like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see. Your pipe was broken. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now. Huh. You're one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear? I wonder what we should make of this account. Let me see what he exactly said. She's fucking dangerous. She did not throw soft projectiles, as he said. Fire poker? It's important. Defense believes Mr. Gyarados' remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife, and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed, common sense, one might say. Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not. Oh, dearie me, there you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady. What the... I'm going to strangle her. Very well, the court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo. Let's look at it! Beep, 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 beep. I knew it. Oh wait, did you remember the knife? Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Nip the tip! Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think. Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. The tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be. Boop! Let's see what they say about this. It looks to be in a sorry state with a bandage around it, doesn't it? But for some reason it feels slightly ominous to me, like it's trying to shout out a warning. Probably because it's the same blue as Mr. Gyarados' dressing gown. I suppose it must have considerable sentimental value to Mr. Gyarados, given that he's gone to the trouble of repairing it like this. Either that or he can't afford to replace it. I've never smoked out of a pipe. Looks archaic. What'd they say? Let me see what they say about this. It's just a tiny piece of metal we found in the chamber of Mr. Gyarados' pipe. It looks like the tip of a blade. Okay, tip of a blade. Okay, they said something. It's the same thing. Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't really know. There's just something niggling me! But I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Perhaps in that case, it would be wise to examine some of the other pieces of evidence again. Okay, you want me to look at the blade again? Oh. Barky? Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo, just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing. Oh, you want pets? You're such a baby. Wait, part of it's missing? I could be wrong, but I've just got a feeling. Remember this? Ah, that's a tiny fragment of metal that we found inside Mr. Gyarados' pipe. Yes, and just maybe... Oh my, it's a perfect fit. Somehow I just knew it. Are we gonna put it on there or no? Okay. The tip, okay, it added to the court record that the tip fits on that. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down. Oh no, it's fine. Thanks to Susato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. You should examine it carefully. Already did. Well, thank you for that rebuttal, Mr. Gyarados. Now if we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim? Any knives runner players can't say a notice if one or two went missing.
Hold it!
Sorry? Would you care to elaborate? Nothing to say, really. Rather partial to a spot of carving, you see. Pipes and whatnot. Fishing tackle, you know the sort of thing. I'm just pressing the rest to see. It's a passion we both share. I like to carve little wooden trinkets too. And then there's my leatherwork. Sorry to say we're always losing knives about the place. And we have dozens of the things. They sell them at the market sometimes, 20 for the price of 19. Needless to say, I snapped them up. John prefers to use 2 knives at mealtimes too, instead of a knife and fork. What? Now, Joan, we don't want people thinking I'm some kind of savage. There we go again with the scaldings. Why are they being so evasive? I imagine it's because they don't want to believe it. They can't bear the thought that it might have been one of their knives that injured the victim. Which is entirely understandable, of course, but still... Go on with your testimony, witnesses. Sir. One thing that really was one of ours. You'll have a job proving it, I think.
Hold it!
So you have no intention of admitting it was your knife. Unless we can produce proof. Oh. Even though there is no other credible possibility if Mr. Natsume is innocent.
Objection!
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I just want to press everything just in case. You forget, my Nipponese friend, that it has yet to be established that the accused is not responsible for the attack. As if I could forget. Boy, there was some way to know who had handled the knife. I suppose wizardry like that is just a dream. We know who did it! Okay, my controller just died. I might need to charge it after this. Perhaps you're thinking of fingerprinting, Mr. Naruhodo. What? You mean, it's not a dream? That sort of wizardry really exists. Whenever people touch anything, they leave behind a unique pattern from their skin. Or so they say. But I can't see anything. There are already countries in the world where these so-called fingerprints can be used as evidence. I'm using a PlayStation controller. Lord Strongheart is currently discussing the matter at the Ministry of Justice. Yes, I believe we are rapidly approaching an era of scientific methods of investigation. But for now, we shall have to find an alternative method of proving our assertion. That this knife found in the victim's back was originally in Mr. and Mrs. Gyarados' house. If only I could transplant this whole incident to several years in the future. Dude, we got it! We got this! I hate Xbox runs too. Sir, we got this. I'm just drinking water right now. It died again! I'm gonna have to get the other controller. Hold. Please hold. Alright, evac. Got a new controller, went to the bathroom. I'll take a sip. Yes, I know. I'm sure both of them must be feeling very worried. Worried it was in fact a knife belonging to one of them that caused the victim's injury. You already said this. Blah, 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 blah. Do I show the knife? Hold on. Large folding knife, the tip of which was broken off and was found inside the pipe bowl. Okay, yeah, we showed the knife at the last. I think the fragment. Well, hold on. I think this one updated to include the fragment. I'm gonna do the knife. I'm gonna say, just in case, hee hee. What?
Objection!
No, not here. Or maybe I presented the knife. Maybe I gotta present the fucking tip. But I'm gonna present it here.
Objection!
Let's just consider the implications of that statement for a moment, shall we? What implications, Counsel? Nothing strikes me about it. Damn. I guess it is the tip. Come at this again from a different angle. I think I have to present it in this statement. Or do I present it in the next statement? Maybe I'll present it here, actually.
Objection!
Mr. Gyarados, could I ask you to take a good long look- oh, wait, good look at this, please. No, it would. I don't- well, yeah, but it's not like- even though the description, like, changed to accommodate the tip, whatever. You can ask, but I can't see a bally thing. You can't? Used to call me Dead-Eye Deb back in the regiment, of course. But that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. I struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest. You need glasses, sir. Oh, he does. Dearie me, it's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word. You must D very dussy. Dussy? No, I think he just can't read. Can't read. Can't see because it's too blurry. What is that? A tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. And where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Gyarados' pipe. My pipe, you say? By Jove, I wonder how that got there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road? I am. What?
When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord. Oh my gosh, he's standing on a box! Maybe they didn't really look at this stuff like we did. You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, counsel. Very well then, present the pertinent evidence to the court. What evidence when paired with this allegedly reveals the truth? Sir, I'll fucking give it to you.
Take that!
This is a knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece at the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones. Jesus! And what of this particular knife? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is a very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. Oh god, he got shot! Good grief, Lord Van Zeeks! I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh! Ordar! Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? Bitch! This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. The miracle. A miracle? So Van Zeeks has figured it out, has he? Counsel, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. She fucking threw shit at me and broke my pipe. My favorite pipe. I had to use tape to wrap it up. Boop boop. Oh my god. Oh. Fury. Me? During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Mrs. Garrideb flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb, instead striking the pipe in his hand at the time. Are cheeking cheekily! Which caused the tip to break off. Of course. Good lord! Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1. And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted. I think he wants to find the truth too. But I'm not sure. Off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, this knife which fell from the window of the Garrideb's house is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below. Oh gosh, oh dear, oh no! Wait,
Objection!
the butt. Oh god, he's drinking. A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it is just a theory. A game theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. Because you see... Oh god, leg up. It's spoilt by an insurmountable inconsistency. An insurmountable... What? Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified?
Yeah, he has. He's done it when he's like, mad.
An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with a knife planted in the middle of her back. Okay, I can explain this easy. Yes, in her...
Ah. That's right, you silly old man!
Ah, Joan, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let's consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife had struck her and fallen from above, there's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back. Renosuke, we got this! Come on now! Ordar!
Quite right, you see, that's exactly right. If the knife had fallen from above, it would have struck her on the top of her head.
Stop smacking your husband. Well,
He's lost for words, look! I knew it. I never liked his theory in the first place, bitch!
I don't know though, what really did happen? It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder. If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. Oh my god, this is a new pose. The crushed hand. We were so close. I could see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has been blocked completely by just one simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency, and the theory will stand. It's Susato. You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. We were just caught off guard, that's all, and your mind went blank. But if the path you are on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. Probably in the next case. I don't know. The key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. It seems you have nothing to say, my Nipponese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed. No, I have proof.
Objection.
This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying? Counsel? There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer. Goodness! Utter madness! Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. Evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is the book. Kashi. Or should I... should I show this? Picture? I'm gonna save. Where are we going with this? She bent down to pick up this book. The flaming book. And then the knife went out and stabbed her in the back.
I don't know if I should do... I think I will just present the picture.
Take that!
This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book. Oh, okay. It's either the picture or that. Is that not Mr. Garrideb's book? Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all know now, it was a police constable that put the book between her fingers like that. Quite so, as part of his wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true, however, as part of his testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on that point. He put it in her hands because that's how I found her. She was holding this book. In other words, the victim had already picked the book up of her own volition. And clearly that must have been before she suffered the knife wound. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she could have been doing much of anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? By Jingo! She is pretty short. I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now. Oh dearie me. We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garrideb household onto the pavement below, at precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment. The young woman was walking along the street in a light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her. The book I threw. Yes, Mrs. Garrideb, and what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement? Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down. Oh, look at her! Yeah, but like Van Zeke's rebuttals make sense, so... and pick the book up. Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book. Oh heavens! And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, what position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book... Oh my god! I'm gonna be afraid of knives just falling from the sky. The next object fell from the room above, that jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at that same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Well, I never. It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. Ah! From the other direction. The constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. That's a long version of the book series. And that is the real truth behind this case.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb.
The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that.
There, old bean.
Poor Mrs. Garrideb. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me.
Did we show her a knife? No, I think we brought it out during, testimony or something. Or I think, because she was on the jury and we showed the evidence. The prosecution brought out evidence and we brought out evidence and stuff. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well.
John, dear. It's alright, I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry!
What would she be guilty of?
It's not attempted murder.
It's kind of an accident. Lord Van Zeeks, what news of Mrs. Garrideb? She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events have left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern. Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions. What? What are they gonna do? There is some good news, however, my lord. I've just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon.
It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her. How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems.
Yes, that is good news. So, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Yes. On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please accept our heartfelt apologies. Reckless endangerment? I guess I am. This is a first. No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. Oh no, Mr. Natsume. That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beat said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. Oh, the judge is like, on behalf of Great Britain, we apologize to you, Mr. Natsume, for, harassing you. For being racist, yeah. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here. I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog. Like they're haunting me. Poor Soseki-san. His imagination really has got the better of him.
Yes, poor man.
So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I am truly sorry. Wow. One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by this spirit and led to false conclusions. But thanks to Lord Van Zeeks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken and the spirit exorcised. How eloquent. The spirit is called domestic violence. I heartily commend you both. Oh. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decisions regarding the defendant's culpability. I have no idea, I'm not a lawyer. Ask Brock Lee. They're in law school. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? Rock Lee is like catching up on the VODs. As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare that truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old bean while she's out of action, you know, but I know what her decision would be. Can you do that? I guess so. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time. I say I'll have a cork of a story to tell the grandchildren when I get home, won't I? Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Very well. Mr. Soseki Natsume, I hereby pronounce you... Wait, I'm gonna take a sippy. Not guilty! The fireworks. And finally, Mr. Natsume. Oh, yes, Lord, sir. You are now a free man once more. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me. Oh, yes, sir. Of course. On my life, I swear I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears. Okay. Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned. Yee-hee, we did it. Oh, locum. Wait, you mean me? Of course! Is there another locum here? Is there even one? Compared to the original locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with him using my actual name? Oh, at last! I'm free! I'm free! Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! Those two words are the same. Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah! Oh, please, Mr. Natsume is delighted. Would it be so hard just to say that then? Locum, you did it. You saved me from the brink. Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now. No, not that. Lovely, loyal, locum lawyer. Yes? I mean, as I said before, I've just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings, and from high up windows I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback! Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today you, locum lawyer, gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold, the best barrister ever born!" Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you. It has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan. An anecdote? Is that what's become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. Who is this? Oh, God! I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning. Oh, Mr. Schultz, what a pleasure to see you! I see I'm here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted, I'm glad to say. Oh! The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck. Sir, you are 3 hours late. It's just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain. It's you. Her hairlock shows. Oh? Have we met, sir? This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming. It's all your fault. Hairlock shows. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I've placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Damn. Ah. Had she been taken to hospital more urgently? I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now. Oh. But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience. I do feel very badly about how I behaved. Well, never mind now then. What was it that you wanted to say to me, sir? Nothing. No! Give him a piece of your mind! Priceless. Oh, I'm sorry, really, but that was quite priceless. Poor Soseki-san. He's a bully! Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And it would seem you are not even found guilty. But there is no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits and now by the Reaper. True. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It would all be alright, Mr. Natsume. If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you. Hiya! Why are you throwing me? The perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of warning might be nice next time, Miss Susato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan. Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon. Oh! It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I've visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it.
That's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
Or in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world, escape the terror of the Reaper's curse. That's fair too.
That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own.
Good! We need more of that.
Oh, I see. A work of literature by Soseki-san.
It'd be an interesting read.
And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo?
Sorry? What about us?
Will you return to Japan alongside your mustache compatriot?
Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London.
Jesus Christ, it's not even a week!
And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet.
And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not?
That's right, but we need to find lodgings before it bankrupts us. I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then,
you could take my lodgings.
Oh, the
windowless room.
Ah, but what it lacks in windows, it more than makes up for with a floor, a ceiling, and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit!
Oh yes.
It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call.
Is he talking about his cat?
We'll think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative.
Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Really?
Well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add.
Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft?
I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of.
Oh, this is simply wonderful! What an honor to be invited to taking lodgings in the great detective's office's attic! I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then. Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. All by herself?
She's a child!
And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist.
I don't know what to say, but thank you, and yes.
Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy.
Locum, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. It's been a privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon. Well, I've come to realize that I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yes, I'm sure. I hope he doesn't die.
And hopefully by then I'll be a successful lawyer. Hopefully by then I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived.
Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, Mr. Sholmes.
I have little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening.
He needs a bodyguard. I don't trust him alone.
And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, we rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street.
So true.
The attic. It's a huge attic.
So this... is to be our new office, yes. Our office. I rather like the sound of that. Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it? Detective and a lawyer living together. I hope you can see this, Kazuma. It's only a small step. But I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? Oh my god, this is a different outfit. His hair. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much. It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it. Good, I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you. I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. We'll eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate. Ah, he became handsome enough to me. I'm so sorry. Iris, you must let me help you.
Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad.
Splendid. It's the hair. It's the hair! And the eye. So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel to have your own office in the capital? It's very exciting, actually. I can't help wondering what adventures await us. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. I know! When he took off his outfit, I'm like, oh no, his hair! Oh no, his eyes! He's hot!
Oh no, he's hot.
Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So once again, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London. Welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. Oh my god, the theme! Kazuma's theme! I can't handle this right now. But it wasn't long before my turn came. To lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Oh man! Okay, this case, it was easier for me to see. We are now at The Adventure of the Unspeakable Story. I guess they can't say The Hound of Baskervilles, even though it says right up there. Although, I can't remember if this is one of the stories that's already in public domain. A few Sherlock Holmes stories got into public domain this year. There's only 5 episodes. The other ones are the ones we did already. It just loops back
It's
around.
coming! Sholmes's cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this This is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles.
Oh, he said it.